Okay, yesterday was the Africa Special, and I think we now know Cardano's grand strategy in Africa. Get ready. Let's go. First, let's start off by asking the question, what the hell is grand strategy? So, in discussions about the games that nation states play in geopolitics, we can either talk about focused areas of policy, say, what was the United States policy toward Thailand in the 1960s in the Cold War? Or you could talk about notions of grand strategy, which would be like, what was the United States' grand strategy to contain the USSR and eventually drive it toward economic ruin? That would be a grand strategy. The focus strategy is a piece of that grander strategy. So we haven't seen a lot of examples of grand strategy in cryptocurrency, but I think what we witnessed in the Africa Special is the fruition of the first steps in a grand strategy that's going to sweep not only the continent of Africa, but that could sweep over the entire developing world. So what do I mean by this? We already knew that 5 million people would have their educational records recorded on the Cardano blockchain through Atala Prism. But what wasn't apparent, I think, to me until watching the Africa Special was that this is just a doorway. And that Atala Prism dApp, let's just go ahead and call it a dApp. That Atala Prism dApp is just one update away from being a combination of Atala and Yoroi. Think about it. If you are an Ethiopian student who goes from kindergarten all the way through high school and then starts applying for jobs and uses Atala Prism to provide your prospective employer with records about your educational career up to that point, or let's say you're a freshman in high school now, and in 4 years, or you're a junior and in 2 years, or you're even a senior, and in a year or two, you want to provide a university or a prospective employer with proof that you graduated from high school, you're going to be using Atala. And if we go further, more years down the road, IOHK and Cardano may have increased the coziness of their relationship with the Ethiopian government. Maybe we've got medical records on the Cardano blockchain that can be permissioned through Atala. Maybe a patient can give a medical institution the right to see their medical records in Atala. Maybe voter registration is happening through Atala. If you're doing all these things, whether they're government related or not, in Atala, it's going to be a part of your life. It's going to be something you keep on your phone and you use occasionally. It's super easy for Cardano to do what all tech organizations do. That's try to increase the functionality of their app, right? They're always adding new things, figuring out new ways to monetize their customers. And Atala can super easily be updated to be a combination of Atala and Yoroi. This is the grand strategy of Cardano. John O'Connor summed it up in the video about World Mobile, who we'll talk about more later. He said, the steps are providing people with identity, providing them with, and that's digital identity, providing them with digital transfer of value, and then providing them with programmability of that value. Mickey Watkins, the CEO of World Mobile, then added an additional step, a step 0 that would happen before John O'Connor's 3 steps. He said, first you connect people to the digital world. First you connect them to the digital world. Then you give them identity. Then you give them financial services. The 2 steps that John O'Connor broke down to transfer value and programmability of that value. We also learned from Tim Harrison that World Mobile plans to have 100,000 subscribers in Zanzibar by the end of the year. So not only are they doing something that's really easy to get behind, it's like, yes or no, do you want to provide internet access to people in rural Africa? You're a straight psycho if you say no. If you say no to that, you hate human beings, probably. Probably you hate human beings. So everybody's going to want to get behind this mission. And if they can onboard 100,000 people as subscribers in more of a metro area like Zanzibar, it sounds like they're actually going to be able to do this. So it sounds like they can actually achieve this goal of providing the connectivity to the digital world. And Cardano has already rolled out the digital identity next step. And we know it's super easy for them to upgrade that DApp, providing the digital identity, to also provide the ability to digitally transfer value and for that value to be programmable. We've got a very cohesive grand strategy. Cardano is going to roll this out in Ethiopia, which we'll probably all be calling Wakanda by 2025. I mean, let's face it, this is more advanced than anything we have in the West. I don't have any ability to digitally give people permission to look at my diplomas or my grades or anything like that. That does not exist for me in North America. It exists in Ethiopia now. We already know Cardano's already talking to Georgia, Mongolia, and we saw a video of them in discussions with Tanzanian officials right in this video. We also know they've already been talking to a lot of other African nations. We saw a tweet from an official in Georgia who's looking forward to the same kinds of things being successful in Georgia. So in these first few use cases, if this is successful, what is going to prevent the rest of the developing world from going along with this? I mean, you can say like, okay, some other countries aren't going to be able to provide tablets for all their students and their teachers like Ethiopia is, but internet access is already sort of sweeping the globe, right? It's already sweeping the globe in almost all big metro areas. There's internet access, right? So we already have the seeds. We already have the seeds for this tree to grow. And Cardano's worked out all the pieces of how to do this. From those big metro areas, they can branch out now into the rural areas with World Mobile, give people that step zero access to the digital world, and then provided them with the identity, the transfer value, and the programmability. This is a great grand strategy, which we already know is providing us with the possibility of onboarding 5 million people to ADA. Yesterday, in the last installment of this channel, the last episode, we talked about whether or not the final puzzle piece would be laid out for us, answering the question, hey, is this just an IOHK project? Is this just an Atala project? Or is some benefit of this going to accrue to the ADA holders? This grand strategy is how the benefit will accrue to the ADA holders at the same time as helping people in the developing world, including them in the digital revolution that we've already experienced basically decades ago. This is mutually advantageous for everybody. And those are always the strategies that win. Cardano was just the first blockchain to figure this out and actually put in the work. I hope you're psyched about that. I am. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow.